All right, we are back here on the podcast talking about the Super Bowl halftime show and commercials to wrap up our big game coverage here on the podcast. No, this is the Sam DeRosa spot. Unfortunately, scheduling got in the way. We cannot get her on more this year, but I didn't want to leave you without it. So I did get a great replacement to step in here. Nick D'Alessio, my buddy, who's I think on the pop culture side we last talked to about the Daredevil Born Again season one premieres here. Nick, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Wow, great replacement. That feels good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess Daredevil was probably the last time, but yeah, happy to be here. I have a lot of thoughts about the Super Bowl halftime show and commercials. So,
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into that, what do you think about the actual game? Were you bored to tears like most of us?
so I guess I'll set the table. The full disclosure now. I'm on a work trip right now, which is why I'm in a hotel room, and I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Hobbs, New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere, watching the Super Bowl. So. Um, the game wasn't great until like for the first three quarters it was pretty boring. So being at the Buffalo Wild Wings was kind of the fun part of it. But then a little bit of life in the fourth quarter by New England, but it was too little too late. And then that was kind of it.
Yeah, I think that's about sums up pretty well. If you you listen to the early parts of the podcast, Joe D and I broke down the big game. So now we're getting to the more fun stuff here, the halftime, the commercials here. I think we got to start with halftime here because obviously, there's a lot of hype about the Bad Bunny performance. There was a lot of speculation. Is he gonna, make a political statement? Is he gonna say F ice in the thing? Is there gonna be like famous cameos? There was the ridiculous counter programming from Turning Point USA. But I have to say, like, from what my party experience, the Bad Bunny spot was a hit.
Yeah. To be honest, I the part that I thought people should have been more worried about was Green Day doing it because Green Day, the anti-establishment punk band that replaces the word MAGA in their songs, like for some reason people thought Bad Bunny was going to be the problem. No, I thought his halftime performance was amazing. It's maybe like one of the first, if only halftime shows that like I almost got a little emotional at certain points in it,
Yep.
which I can dive into. But yeah, no, I thought overall, I thought it was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah, the staging was fantastic. He's a great tribute to like his Puerto Rican roots. Like I know there was complaints about, oh, he's all his songs are in Spanish, can't understand anything, but like the vibes were great.
Yeah, and to that point of all the songs are in Spanish, like the setting and the dressing and the atmosphere like told the story. Like you didn't need to know the songs to tell what he was trying to portray. I mean, like people go to opera. Opera's in a different language, but you feel the story. People I mean Kendrick Lamar did the halftime last year and sang in English and nobody understood the message anyway. So you know what I mean? So like I just thought it was such a beautiful like embrace of Puerto Rican culture, which frankly, Puerto Rican culture is American culture. And like it wasn't meant to be like, look at what we're gonna get away with. It was just meant to be this like beautiful messaging. And then, he even said God bless America and then listed all the countries that are in North and South America. It was just I think Bad Bunny. I don't think it's a coincidence that the only parts that were in English were the messaging of like love is better is more important and things like that. So, I didn't think there was any need to be worried. I think he knew exactly what he was going to do, and I think he did it perfectly.
Yeah, he did. And obviously, like there was a lot of like craziness going on in this like the staging on this was done so well in terms of like it really felt like you're like walking through a story with Bad Bunny just going through the halftime show and like the crazy stuff. I mean, between the Lady Gaga cameo, which nobody saw coming, Ricky Martin, which you kind of had a sense might be coming, the wedding, which was actually real. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I heard about that. I was looking it up on Reddit, and yeah, they said that was apparently they invited Bad Bunny to their wedding.
Yeah.
So his response was, "How about you guys get married at the Super Bowl instead?" Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, like that's a hell of a story to tell their future kids one day. It's like, hey, like we got married in front of 130 million people on national television.
Yeah, and even like the little details that he did, like even like a little 5-year-old kid falling asleep on a chair on the side that he smacks awake, and like
Yeah.
like I was like reading comments on Reddit, and people were like that moment they felt so seen by just the little nuances of his portrayal of just Puerto Rican culture. It was just 10 out of 10. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, for sure. It's other stuff here. Like, what'd you think about the Lady Gaga, Ricky Martin of it all? Like them popping in.
So I was a little bit torn about Lady Gaga because at first it almost felt like how can we make the people that are going to be angry, there's no English happy? It kind of felt like that. But like Lady Gaga turned one of her songs into like a salsa song, and then like it fit well thematically. And I think Bad Bunny has gone on and said that like he's a huge fan of Lady Gaga. So like it after like I've let it marinate and thought about it, I think they did handle everything really well.
Yeah, and Ricky Martin, like for how old he is, he looks pretty good.
Dude, Ricky Martin, Jessica Alba, like all of them, I'm like, oh man, they haven't like it's funny. I was like, there's no way that's Ricky Martin because that dude's old and that guy looks amazing. And then I was like, oh wait, no, that is Ricky Martin. The guy hasn't aged today. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there was a lot of cameos in this halftime show. I mean, besides those two, I mean, at the part, like basically at the house in the background, the Benito's house, you had basically like you mentioned Jessica Alba was there, Pedro Pascal's dancing back there, Cardi B, Carol G, Alex Earl was there. There's a lot.
Yeah, and I mean Cardi B, I think everybody assumed was going to be there because of
Yep,
Stefan Diggs, you know.
yep.
But Pedro Pascal, of course he's there. He's everywhere. You know, that guy's in everything. Yeah, it felt like a party. Like it didn't feel like a staging. It felt like we were like catching a glimpse of like an actual wedding or a party or something.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I did love that stuff here. And in terms of the compare this to recent halftime shows, obviously, I'd say let's go back to like the weekend, say it's probably like the last like 5 years. So I feel like it's like it's up there, I think, with the hip hop show from LA and Kendrick Lamar last year in terms of like being very good.
Yeah, and I think culturally this is maybe the most important one because I think Kendrick Lamar had a message and I think it went over a lot of people's heads and like some of it was,
F
you know,
Drake.
yeah, that was part of it too. And then I like Rihanna was great, but she was also pregnant, so like she was kind of hamstrung by what she could do. The weekend was great. I think though, like I just feel like the cultural importance of this one, of just the climate of everything, and he could have really gone in a direction, and instead he chose to be like, let's try to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And like I think like this one, like maybe like was Kendrick Lamar's performance a little bit better and like was like the weekend maybe a little bit more,
Weird.
yeah, but like I think this one will be remembered because I'm hoping this one's remembered because of the point in time and the message that it tried to portray.
Yeah, and the NFL nailed this too because the NFL has been like ahead of the curve a little bit the last few years. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar, like they got him right as he was going big with the new album and the feud with Drake, and they got Bad Bunny picked in September. And I know the league was that got prisons for it. They said we're picking him because he's effing awesome, like and like not everybody has to like what we like, and like they get him and he wins Grammy like album of the year at the Grammys right before he goes to the Super Bowl. So like great timing.
Yeah, I mean reggaeton in general and salsa is really really on the rise. And I think I was having conversations with people about this, and I'm not going to say any names because, I don't want to, but like some people are like, oh, they should have like Metallica or they should have like
I
a
know
well-known rock band.
I know you're
You know
talking
who I'm
about. We're
talking.
not we're not doxing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna dox, but like I'm like, you know what though? That wouldn't make sense because everybody who's watching the Super Bowl probably already likes Metallica. Like think about how many people are watching this Super Bowl strictly because Bad Bunny's there that otherwise wouldn't watch it. Because I know it's crazy to think, but not everybody cares about the Super Bowl. So like that's the best way to bring more people into it is who's hot right now, but also who's like everybody will talk about it. And I think they nailed it.
Yeah, I think they saw the preliminary numbers are 133 million people watched the Bad Bunny halftime show.
Yeah, because it like I think people were interested. For as many people that were like, "Oh, I don't want to listen to this. It's not even in English." There was a lot of people that were like curious, and I bet you, like, I'm curious to see what the Spotify stats are today versus a week from now. But I bet you he gets a huge bump from it.
Yeah, I think as of this morning, I think like the top like 5 songs on the Spotify chart were Bad Bunny songs.
Yeah, because they're just fun. Like even if you don't understand the lyrics, like they're just fun. I don't know how else to say it. He's a fun artist, and he captured the moment very well.
Yeah, he did. And I believe he has since wiped his Instagram clean. It just means his another album is coming soon. So
I'm all listen, I'm all for it. I was actually in Puerto Rico when like the first song he opened up with dropped, and you couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song everywhere. So it's just like the fact that it started so small and it's like not even in English and like the entire world has almost embraced it. I think that's really cool that we're seeing that.
Yeah, that's for sure here. And obviously a little early, but I think we do have to put this on the record every year. The who we think they could go for at next year's Super Bowl, because I'm gonna look up real quick the
Mhm.
rotation for next year. I want to say it's Miami. I'll have to double check where the Super Bowl is
Okay.
next. Oh no, it's LA again next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that opens the door for a lot.
that was door for a lot because the last time they were in LA, they had the whole like hip hop halftime show that was a big hit with Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar is there, and he parlayed that into his own appearance. Eminem, like the whole crew. Like important to note here, next year's Super Bowl. I don't know if you're aware of the date. Is on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on Valentine's Day. So, weighing that in mind, like who do you think they will try and go to for the next Super Bowl halftime show?
Thought about this a lot, and I'm like, who's an artist that's like relevant, that has enough like bangers and hits that they could fill up 15 minutes? And I'm like, so I'm wearing a Refused t-shirt. They're a hardcore punk band. So obviously I wish they would go somewhere in that direction. They're never gonna do it.
No.
I'm like, but you know who's like a somebody who low key has banger after banger after banger? I'm like, what about somebody like Dua Lipa? You know, like she like you can do 15 minutes of bangers and have guests come in at any parts in her songs. Like I think something like that could potentially work and bring it back to a more pop focused thing for everybody since everybody's all bent out of shape that it hasn't been that for a while.
Yeah, I feel like we're overdue for like the pop singer. We haven't had one in a minute because we've gone a little rap, a little hip hop. Obviously, Bad Bunny's his own thing. I do think like it's important. I do think it's interesting here, like with some of the options of the Super Bowl next year. Like you might hear some of the early betting odds according to FanDuel.
Oh, are people already making bets on it?
Yeah, FanDuel already has some lines out. Their
Yeah, yeah, let's hear it.
their top three favorites are Miley Cyrus at plus 310, Cardi B plus 440, and Taylor Swift plus 490.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean those are all
Dua Lipa kind of in
people.
that bucket too.
Yeah, the reason I said her is because I'm like, who has enough hits that can fill up 15 minutes of just all, the Barney Stinson all rise, no, no, like just and those three artists do fit that bill. I I wonder I'm a little Taylor Swift fatigued in the NFL just because like, I feel like she's all over the NFL because of for obvious reasons. But I mean, the three of those make sense. Miley Cyrus would be an interesting one because who knows what she'll do. She's kind of the wild card of the group. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with the timing for Taylor Swift also. We don't know if Travis Kelce could play next year, and I feel like she's gonna wait till he retires to potentially do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be too much of a distraction, regardless whether or not like Kelsey or the team would say it's not. It absolutely would be. It's already probably a little bit of a distraction. So yeah, if it's gonna happen with her, it would definitely be post retirement. I agree.
Yeah, I think Dua Lipa's a good shout though. I think they want to get somebody in that range of like somebody on the way up. Like I'm trying to figure like I think like Ariana Grande before Wicked would have made sense, and now I think she's probably too doesn't need it.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It seems like me and you are in the same wavelength of where they should go next year.
I feel like that's what they should do. But then again, I don't think anybody had Bad Bunny on their radar last year at this time.
No, and I'm like, who knows? Maybe there will be a wild card that like nobody even thought of that, I mean, whoever's selecting this is not shy of potentially being controversial. So, you know, I just because I think maybe it would make sense to go back to a more pop mass appeal doesn't mean they're gonna. Because, they kind of showed you this year that like they don't have to do that and it'll still be successful.
Yeah, if we want to go to the LA direction, also sort of follow the hip hop thing here, like we got Jay-Z getting a look.
Yeah, I that could be. And then with if you have somebody like Jay-Z, you can have a lot of guest spots, for a lot of different songs. I think we need to see how the next year shakes out without getting political. We need to see how the next year shakes out for somebody like Jay-Z, but yeah.
Yeah, like another one fits the kind of boat I think is like Billie Eilish, something I could see too. I don't know if she has the full song like discography to like carry that yet.
Yeah, she's probably somebody that would make as like a better like guest spot because I saw Charlie XCX at Coachella. and Billie Eilish came out for one verse on one song, and let me tell you, everybody lost their friggin' minds. Like it was like you would have thought like President Obama walked out on stage or something, like like everyone like freaked out. And so like Billie's an interesting one too because she's incredibly talented and has singles, but I think she's more of a guest spot than the actual headliner.
Another two who popped up on the list are Justin Bieber and Harry Styles.
Yeah, I mean Justin Bieber's headlining Coachella this year.
Yeah.
So he's kind of on a comeback, and Harry Styles is he feels a little safe to me, but maybe they want to do a little safe after the last couple of years. Yeah, it feels like that's the direction they're gonna go in, though.
Yeah, probably more pop-ish than like some of the other stuff. And to our
Yeah.
to our friends who's the Metallica supporter here, they probably should have gotten the spot ahead of the Green Day. That's probably where they put would have been best utilized if you want to
Well,
do
it,
that.
it would have made sense too because I think they're from San
They are.
Francisco. So yeah, it would have made sense to have them do the pre-game thing. But they chose Green Day, and I have thoughts on Green Day's performance that I don't want to be controversial on your podcast, so I won't say anything. But I have thoughts on Green Day.
Yeah, we'll save the Green Day for another conversation here.
I'll talk to you in person about
Yeah,
it.
let's go to the actual commercials here. I feel like overall, these commercials kind of sucked. I don't know if you got that vibe from where you.
Yeah, no. So I was with a group of people who were like the age range from the people I was with was people our age, millennials to like middle-aged women to people in their like 60s. Like I was with a pretty big demographic of people, and like I would say a third of them only cared about the commercials. And like it started off pretty strong. I think that first one with like the Ben Stiller and the Benson Boone when Ben Stiller does the flip off the stage thing, like that was pretty funny. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't want to just like say it was like AI slop. Some of it kind of just felt like the commercial Super Bowl commercials used to be fun and like interesting, and now it all kind of just seems like have famous person do ridiculous thing or like hyper serious commercial, and like I don't know, it kind of it wasn't I stopped caring at a certain point about the commercials.
Yeah, and I do think like this it was way too much AI. Also, there was like well like four or five different AI commercial product commercials.
Yeah, literally for AI products. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that. There was like some weird brands that never really popped up there. I mean, WeatherTech had a Super Bowl A, which I couldn't believe.
Yeah, I mean WeatherTech are great. I've had WeatherTech before. It's good, but like for the Super Bowl, yeah, like what is that?
Yeah, there was some weird ones on there. I think if I had to give an overall grade, I'd say it's probably like a D on the commercials this year.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, like I wasn't in the correct environment to be watching commercials, but I was with people that cared, and at a certain point, nobody was watching the commercials anymore. So like that says something to the quality of it.
All right, let's talk about some of the good commercials here. Like which ones pop to you?
Well, I already said the Benson Boone one was funny. The clip that you played before the bologna one that was that
Yeah,
was really funny.
yeah, that was
Um,
Hellman's.
Hellman's, yeah, sorry, this is mayonnaise, not bologna, right? Because he's
Yeah.
making a bologna sandwich. I thought that was really funny. It's for some reason I don't know why I didn't particularly care about this commercial, but the group of people that I was with, like the older, like Gen X people, they really loved that commercial of the one with the eagle, the little baby eagle.
Oh, that was
Um,
this year's Clydesdale's commercial.
yeah, like they loved that one. They were like, "Oh my God," they were like going crazy for it. And I was like, "Really? This is the one people are going crazy for?" But I want to each their own.
Yeah, I think a couple of like ones that hit at the group I was with here. I think the T-Mobile Backstreet Boys commercial was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun one for Backstreet Boys fans. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun little throwback here. We had, I think, also the number one hit with our group was the Goodwill Dunkin' commercial.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one was good. Yeah.
That one really popped. It was really fun to one Meal Diamond, which was the mayonnaise commercial, is definitely a good one here. And I think in terms of like the heartwarming one, I think like the Ring commercial where like you had to be able to set the network to find like the lost pets, like that was also popular.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. Like the good commercials were the ones that like were actually like somewhat creative. Like it doesn't have to be funny to be a good commercial. I know the funny ones stand out more. But so many of them just felt like so like soulless and empty and just like it didn't feel like a Super Bowl commercial. It felt like a YouTube ad commercial that I'll press skip ad while I'm in the middle of watching a video.
Yeah, and I think my other one I'll throw in the good category was the Bud Light one that aired around halftime when the keg is rolling down the hill and everyone's like trying to chase the keg down. That was funny.
Yeah, that was a memorable one. Yeah, because it's showing you all the zoom ins on everybody's faces and stuff. Yeah, that was a pretty good one too.
All right, let's go the other way. What commercials did not stick the landing to you?
So
But
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know. Like I said, I stopped paying attention at a certain point because the commercials just the quality just dipped so much. That I don't know that Budweiser one with the eagle and the dog and stuff. Like I was like, I don't know. I was just like, this is a beer commercial, guys. Like it's not even that deep. I don't know why people loved it. Is I was just like, this is weird. I didn't like it.
yeah, the Budweiser American Icons, that commercial.
Yeah, yeah, it was weird, and people loved it. Like older people loved it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think also we had a bad run out of the gate in terms of like the first batch of commercials was bad. And I will say, you know how much I love Bon Jovi. That
Oh
commercial
yeah.
State Farm did was so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I
It
mean,
was, though, when it finally leads up to Bon Jovi being there, I was kind of like, okay, I get it, but like, it wasn't great.
like I was like watching, I'm sure John got like a big check to license the song for that commercial, but like it just did not land whatsoever. And they had, Dan McBride in it, Keegan Michael Key and Haley Steinfeld in it, and like they wasted all of them.
Yeah, it's some of the commercials. You know what it felt like? Like Saturday Night Live has like sometimes their sketches are so funny and so good, and then like sometimes they're just duds. Some of these commercials felt like rejected SNL skits. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, another one that fit that bucket. The weird one where Sabrina Carpenter's dating the guy made entirely of Pringles.
Oh yeah.
That one was like
You
so
know,
bizarre.
Sabrina Carpenter is an interesting one just to go back to who could play Super Bowl halftime next year. She's kind of on the rise. That's another name that probably I wouldn't be surprised to be a part of it somehow.
I think she's a year or two too early.
Yeah, she would probably be a guest coming out at one point.
Yeah,
Um,
I just think these like ones, a lot of these like didn't land. I think the other one I forgot that did land the part was the one with the tight ends for the prostate cancer screen the NFL did.
oh yeah, because tight ends, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
to relax your tight end. That was one.
yeah, yeah. It like I said, at the environment I was in wasn't very commercial focused. I mean, they did the volume was loud. There was like TV surrounding you everywhere, but yeah, when the group that I was with that cared about the commercials stopped talking about them at a certain point.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, and there was one from Manscaped I forgot about. That was like
Oh yeah, the
this.
shower, like the little glob of hairs talking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of these. Like, what are we doing here? Like, why am I gonna buy your product with that commercial?
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. That's what I mean when I say like they tried to be funny and it just didn't land. So at that point, just advertise your product, like just do a regular boring commercial at that point. And the shock value, the being funny, like if it's not funny, no one's ever gonna think about it ever again.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to Sam here. This just reminds me us a lot of like remember a few years ago with the Mint Mobile commercial where they had the bad milk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's giving me that same kind of energy. This commercial.
Yeah. Commercials too. It's like you got to also like I don't know, because sometimes it's a funny game to be like, all right, what is this a commercial for? And it's like a 45-second sketch about a family getting back together, and then it's like, boom, Michelin tires, and you're like, what? How did we get there? That's like another time when it like I feel like these commercials, I don't know. I wonder if this is a conversation for a different day. Like, I wonder if like when they started putting them on YouTube early or just YouTube in general, if that's just kind of like taken away the need for commercials. So like people aren't trying as hard or something. It's a topic to talk about some other time.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could find 90% of the commercials like on YouTube before the Super Bowl. And it's also like longer cuts. They like put like 2 minute versions on YouTube.
Yeah, and like I wonder if that's like I'm sure there's a correlation to them deciding to do that and the quality of them dipping. And maybe they just need to not put them on YouTube first. Maybe they need to just like air it for the first time at the Super Bowl because that's when people want to see it.
Yeah, that's true. I do think I think there are versions that work better. I just don't think like if you want to put up like your commercial, like, right after it airs and have an extended version, fine. But like, I don't need to be able to go on YouTube like 5 days before the game and see every commercial if I want to.
Yeah, because like I don't know, I don't like who's doing that anyway. Like I wish like instead of like having a longer version and then here's the cut down version at the Super Bowl, just give us the full version of what you want to do at the Super Bowl. That's what people are watching.
Well, that they also involves a lot more money because it costs $8 million per commercial, 30-second commercial.
Right. Well, so that's what I'm saying. Instead of making a 2 minute commercial and cutting it down to 30 seconds, just make a good 30-second commercial. I feel like you're losing something when you have to cut it down, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. Here, we'll also touch on some of the trailers we got in this thing. Like, I want to save the Star Wars one for a second because that's a very relevant one in terms of like interesting choices they made here. What about some of the other movie like spots we got here?
Yeah, I mean, one that stood out to me was like Scream,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, there's when's the last time they made a Scream? And I was like, that first one is like 20 years old, I believe. So like, and somebody explained to me that plot wise, the new one is it's the child of that was in the first one or something. And I was like, Scream 7. Oh my God, they have that many Scream movies out. That one stood out because Scream's such an iconic character. Honestly though, as far as other movie trailers, I can't even think of anything other than that Star Wars one, but I also was ready for the Star Wars one, so I wanted to see it.
Yeah, the Super Mario Galaxy movie had one spot with Yoshi and Baby Mario was good.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah, of course. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah.
And I think my favorite one of the commercial spots was they snuck the one in about the sequel to the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Adventures of Cliff Booth. It's going up
Oh,
on Netflix.
yeah, yeah. And I liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so I remember thinking like, oh, I'm gonna check that out. I did like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme. I was like, oh, that thing. But as far as like the trailers in general, like I don't think any one of them like made me really hyped to see a property that I didn't know existed. Like I obviously I wanted to see. I'm gonna see Star Wars, and I'm gonna see like so like none of these trailers really stood out to me where I was like, what is this movie? I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I will say the Adventures of Cliff Booth I'm excited for because that was written by Tarantino and handed off to David Fincher, which means that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's that combination there, written by Tarantino, directed by Fincher. I'm like, shut up and take my money. I'll go see that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I don't have to take money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, take my money anyway. Those are two of my favorite directors. So yeah.
All right, so I think we want to wrap here with this Star Wars like thing here, which for obviously if you didn't see it, it's early in the game. You have this voiceover by Sam Elliott. It's basically a tribute to like the Budweiser Clydesdale commercials, and then you get this little tease of like the Mandalorian and Grogu like riding on Hoth, the Tauntauns, and then you see okay, the movie's coming on like May 22nd. No additional trailers. It's specifically shot by Jon Favreau for the Super Bowl spot here. What do you think of this?
I I so I'm very plugged into Star Wars. As you know, as
Yeah.
if you have any cross listeners from Just End the Suffering and the Sky Guys, it's we're all very plugged into Star Wars. I was like, this is cool. I like what they're doing here. I want to see this movie. No reaction from anybody I was with. Not a single person. I don't think anybody even knew there was a Star Wars movie coming out. I think people just like assumed it was like for a Disney or some type of toy or movie or show coming out, but like boy did it not feel like a theatrical release that they're really behind is coming out. It kind of I was a little disappointed by it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like I get the idea, I get that it's clever, but I think they were too clever for their own good. Because I mean, if it gets to the point where the next day you're basically seeing, Lucasfilm and Disney doing like press runs of Verizon, oh, this is what we meant to do. Here's what the idea was. You got to explain it to us. That's a problem.
Yeah, it was like if you know, you know. There's a Mandalorian Grogu movie coming out if you know, and if you don't, like we're not going to explain it to you. Like I don't know. I'm nervous about this one. and I'm nervous about what this means for the future of Star Wars. Which uh, next time I'm on the other podcast, we'll talk about that more. But as far as this trailer, I was like, I like the idea of it. I think it was made for people like us who are plugged in. But if you're not people like us, I don't think this moved the needle at all. I don't know if anybody really cares.
I think the problem is like the people like us who are tapped in knew this is coming, but
Yeah.
like I think this is a spot where you need to do brand awareness more. And like I think like when you have a 37-second spot and you're waiting halfway into it to make it clear that it's Star Wars involved, and then you wait to the last 5 seconds and say, "Oh, there's a movie coming." I think that doesn't help your case with the casual audience who is not aware Star Wars is back going back to theaters.
Yeah, I mean, casual people know Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
That should have been the first thing on the screen you see is
Yep.
Baby Yoda, and then make it clear this is a movie coming out soon. Like they didn't really make that very clear, and it's maybe they're not putting a ton behind the but no, I was like maybe they're not putting a ton behind the marketing of it, but they bought a Super Bowl commercial, so I don't know.
They bought a Super Bowl commercial. They let John Favreau direct this separately. So this is like extra for the budget, but like I just don't
Yeah,
think they got the idea. Whereas like they don't I think they just don't know how their marketing for this movie's been bizarre.
it has been very strange, and like I don't. Well, we can't get too into Star Wars, but as much as I would love to, but yeah, it's almost like they're setting this movie up to like do just okay. Like
Yeah.
they're not. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, it's one of those things like on next week's Sky Guys, obviously we haven't recorded yet this week. So that's going to be on next week's Sky Guys pod. We will have a discussion in the news section about the trailer in detail, like and not even the trailer, like the commercial and like what they are trying to go for there. But like it's not it didn't I don't think it did the job they thought it was going to. I think it got
No,
people talking about it, but for the wrong reasons.
I'm very curious to hear what Nick has to say about it because I know he doesn't shy away from being saying what he thinks and pulling punches. So I'm very curious what he thinks.
Yeah, so I think that's something to keep an eye on here because I do think that there is a lot to potentially like about this movie. But if you're trying to remind audiences, hey, we're going to theaters, I don't think this did the job. I think a lot of people were confused about what happening with that commercial.
Yeah, and I wonder if the ship has sailed on Baby Yoda excitement.
Oh, we
You
definitely.
know?
I think we're definitely like we're definitely like 3 years too late on a movie.
Yeah, so like that should be the selling point, so people could be like, "Oh, remember that thing that we loved 4 years ago? They're making a movie about that. That's cool." Like it it almost felt like this directed by John Favreau thing should have been a YouTube release, and then they should have had like a proper theatrical like get you hyped up for the movie with the trope. There's a trope that I hate in movie trailers where they take lyrics from a song and then put it over like orchestral kind of things. Like I hate that, but they should have done that for this just so people are like, oh, this is a movie, you know?
Yeah, I also think I get the Sam Elliott thing. I think you needed Pascal doing the voiceover for this. You're getting people hooked in earlier.
Yeah, I mean he was at the Super Bowl too. That would have been,
I mean,
Pedro Pascal.
even when he's on set, I mean, just take like it took like a day for them to shoot this. Like all you do is just like say, "Hey, Pedro, here's the script. Like, please read this out." They get the audience latched in quicker.
Yeah, yeah, but they they made their choice, and
They're gonna have to lie
we'll
in
see.
it.
Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
All right, I think it's a good place to leave this here. So, Nick, thanks for hopping on here. People want to keep up with some of like I know you're a big Twitch guy. How do they do that?
Yeah. So go to twitch.tv/ the recovery room. Um, I've taken a little break because I've been going on work trips a lot lately. So kind of took a little winter vacation, but we're gonna come back strong next week actually. And we're starting a whole new series, playing a new game. So if you guys want to check it out, twitch.tv/ the recovery room.